Hey folks, Nick Coronado again coming at you with an awesome video. So in this one I will be presenting my CEE300 FE problem example from problem set number 2. Bear with me, the question is kind of lengthy, so I will be adding it to the description at the bottom of the video for your convenience. So the problem states, draw a cash flow diagram for a work truck that has an initial cost of $50,000 that generates a revenue of $20,000 per year for 3 years. What is the net present value after those 3 years, given a discount rate of 5%? And there's a second part of the question that asks, what if maintenance for the truck costs $2,000 annually? So the first thing we need to do is kind of recognize what equations we're going to need to solve for this problem. The first one, which I included right here, is going to be our present value equation, which in this case the variables A is going to be the revenue generated per year by the truck, which is $20,000. I, which is our discount rate of 5%, and N, which is our number of years, which is 3. Along with this, we're going to need the equation to solve for net present value, which says that the net present value is equal to our present value minus our initial cost. Alright, so to start the problem off, we can begin with some cash flow diagrams, since that is what the question asks us to do. And so right here in the beginning, we're going to start off with an initial cost of $50,000. And then from here, over 3 years, we're going to generate $20,000 each year. And that's going to be it for the cash flow diagram for part 1. And now for part 2, it's going to be fairly similar. Start off with an initial cost of $50,000. Except in this case, since we have to take into account the $2,000 maintenance cost, it's just going to be subtracted from our yearly revenue of $20,000. So instead of $20,000, we're going to have a revenue of $18,000 a year for those 3 years. And that'll be it for the 2 cash flow diagrams for both parts. So the next thing we can do now is start solving for the net present value, which we are going to begin by kind of solving for the present value of part 1, which we're just going to take the information given in the problem and plug it in. So for A, we're going to have $20,000. Multiply that whole by a value of 1 plus our 0.05, which is our discount rate, to the power of 3, because that is our N, minus 1, over 0.05 again, times 1 plus 0.05, to the power of 3 again. And so if you do this correctly, the value you should get should be $54,464.96. So in order to get the net present value, I have to take that value we just solved for, which is $54,464.96, and subtract our initial cost, which is $50,000, which should give a net present value of $4,464.96. So that's for part 1. Now for part 2, we're going to do the exact same thing, except our numbers are going to be a little bit different. Our A in this case is going to be $18,000, which we saw in the cash flow diagram. And then the rest of this is going to be fairly similar to the value above. And I just realized I messed these parentheses up. I solved it correctly in my math, but wrote it wrong. And then so when you solve out for part 2, the present value you should get should be $49,018.54. And then so when solving for the net present value, you're going to take that value above, and from it you're going to subtract the initial cost, which is still $50,000. And in this case, you should get a negative net present value of $981.54. Thank you.